CataractCoach.com podcast series, episode number 88, with Dr. Naren Shetty, building a world-class eye institute and research laboratory. Welcome back to our Cataract Coach podcast, and today I have a very special guest, Dr. Naren Shetty. I had a chance to visit his eye center, a super specialty hospital, a research lab, a whole eye institute in Bangalore earlier this year, and I was amazed. I said, gosh, I have to get you on the podcast. Well, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for inviting me. It's really an honor to be invited to your podcast.
Now, tell me about your basically eye specialty hospital. You have an eye institute. You have an eye research lab. You're doing cutting edge stuff with basic science research plus AI, and your new diagnostic equipment. It's amazing. And I want to first start off. Tell me about what is the name Narayana Nethralaya. I had to look it up. I didn't know.
Absolutely, sir. So our hospital is called Narayana Nethralaya. So we started about 4 decades ago. It was started by my father, Dr. Bujang Shetty. So actually, it's a very funny story how he actually, his path to ophthalmology. It was very interesting. Basically, he was born to a farmer. Basically, he was born in a village, a very small town. And what was very interesting was, so one of these, when he was a young boy, he was going to school. I mean, he was supposed to go to school, but he was on top of a tree sitting there during the class hours, and just he was a very naughty boy. And so one of these holidays, vacations, so what he did was, he took a shirt and a pant, put it in a gunny sack, and just waited in front of a temple. Now, everyone was watching in the village, looking at this boy waiting with a sack, and they were wondering what's happening to this boy. I mean, what is the story behind it? So basically, he was waiting for a truck to come to the temple of the village so that he can jump onto that truck and just go for a holiday. And
Really?
this is not like his parents know about it, and even if he climbs and jumps, nobody knows, because at that time they had 8 brothers and sisters, so they don't know. That's why they have more children, because 1 or 2 are meant to be lost. So basically, and somehow at that point, it was basically one of my uncle. Whenever he bought a new truck, the truck used to come to the temple. That's why he was waiting for. So somehow the stars aligned together, and then the truck came, and he jumped onto the truck and he went. And he was so excited that people in the truck, basically one more uncle and his son, they were all going to Joke Falls. Okay. Basically, it's a wonderful, one of the most beautiful falls in India. So they were on the way. So he was so excited. Okay, I'm going to the falls. But what was very interesting was, on the way, they were going to put his uncle's son to the boarding school in Bangalore. So they said, okay, they went on the way and they dropped that boy, and they looked to the left and they were seeing this, my father sitting there. He said, okay, I think let's put this guy also in boarding. So they just took him and put him in boarding. So his parents didn't know for many, many years that actually he was in this school.
Wow.
So he was put into boarding, and actually he was older to his class and he didn't know English. So he had to start from the very beginning. But after a point, he did extremely well. He got double promoted. In fact, he became, the captain of everything from cricket to the school captain. Actually, he had about 7 captaincies basically in school. So after that, as he went on, he did really well, and then he became an ophthalmologist. So the interesting is, if that truck didn't come, then we won't have Narayana Nethralaya, or I wouldn't have been born, or maybe we'll be in one of those villages.
Wow, what a wild story. But it just shows you, he obviously has incredible potential, absolutely, incredible ability, but he just had to be in the right environment.
Right, absolutely.
And then maybe the original school, where he was so bored, it was too easy for him. It wasn't challenging enough.
Absolutely. I think that's a very nice way to look at it. Absolutely, yeah.
So what does the name of your institute mean?
So our hospital is called Narayana Nethralaya. So Narayana is basically God's name, and also it is a gratitude of towards one of my father's uncle who took care of him in the city when he came down. So that's why the Narayana, and Nethralaya means eye. So basically, it is it's a way of saying it's a temple, for patients to come, where the patients are the God. So that's why he treats it like that. And we over the years we have expanded. I mean, we have about 4 centers right now and one charitable center where we do completely free surgeries. But over and above, dad was very supportive to start research, because so what we did is we didn't expand out of the city. We concentrated more in research. So we started in 2013 is when we started our research lab. It's called the Grow Lab, and we do a lot of cutting edge technologies, from proteomics to a lot of biomarkers work. And yeah, so over the years we have grown, and even we are starting gene therapy. Yeah.
It's amazing. So now this is a different scale. So most of my listeners, I'd say at least half are American from the US. And you say, oh, I have 4 centers. The volume, you can't believe until you see it. Tell us about the volume of surgeries that's done with your facility at all locations per year, and how many patients are seen in a year.
So per day we see about 1,500, 1,600 patients. And so I personally, and we do about 150 surgeries, cataract surgeries per day. I personally do about 25 surgeries per day, and I see about 40 patients per day. And I work Monday to Saturday, all days OPD, all days OT. And I usually start my day just like you, very early morning. I start my OT sharp 6:50 in the morning. I finish 25 cases by 9:30, and then I train one case with my fellow. I sit with him and train. I really enjoy training, and I have to tell that, I mean, the life or the career which you have had is simply amazing, because being a teacher itself is being so impactful. And you have really amplified with CataractCoach, the way you have taught people and, changed so many lives of students. Simply amazing. I would like to congratulate that part too, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, part of it is around the world, not all residents or fellows get the same level of training. Now, your fellows, I spent time with them, are so fortunate because they're an incredible program with very dedicated teaching, high surgical volume, a specific curriculum. But there are other fellowships, whether it's in India or US or anywhere else in the world, that don't have that same level. So what I liked in Cataract Coach was, let me get the knowledge, the secrets in cataract surgery, the secrets in anterior segment surgery. Let me just democratize it. I'll share it with everyone every day for free.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So that's one of the points which I keep telling my fellows, because a lot of surgeons, they don't tell their secrets.
Yeah.
They don't tell their special technique, what they do. I share everything what I know, and I keep telling them, don't do this. You have to teach even before you leave the institute. You have to teach your juniors, your colleagues, how best, whatever way you can teach. Because I personally keep learning. Every fellow I get, I learn something new, because teaching is the best way you can learn. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
So, teaching makes you understand the material even better than you did before.
Absolutely.
You really have to master it to teach it.
Right, absolutely.
So your fellows, I had a great time actually spending time with them, but you involved them in everything. So what I liked was they're, of course, doing a lot of surgery, seeing a lot of patients. They're also doing research. They're also presenting at your big meeting. They're doing a live surgery for your big meeting. It was amazing. So tell me about the fellowship programs. You have it in all subspecialties?
Yes, we do. We do in all specialities, but we have a larger number in cataract refractive because of the sheer volume we need. See, over and above teaching, they are also our hands, because they help us a lot, for the hospital to function. And also, in terms of research, it's a win-win situation where we take their help, we teach them. They also, are happy that we put them in platforms. We don't see a lot of times we give opportunities, not just for fellows, even doctors to grow, wherever we see their potential, we just push them and we see how, they can, they shine in which category, which field. We keep pushing them so that, there's no way that, we can say that, okay, take their idea and we publish it, and it's not a nice feeling, and they also demotivated. So whenever we get our ideas, or they come out with certain ideas, we tell them, we push them, we tell them to publish the data, so that everyone is happy and everyone's winning and everyone's growing together.
Yeah, it's certainly a demanding fellowship. You're certainly going to work hard, but
Yeah,
you'll learn so much. But I think the most telling thing for me was so many of your former fellows love it there so much. They just joined as faculty.
yeah, absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. So I think even so, I know it's a very, I don't know whether our fellows are happy or not. We push them to do even live surgery, like you were seeing in our
Right.
in a conference. But they're scared in the beginning, but once they do the surgery, oh my god, they're so grateful that that they give us, they're given an opportunity to be being operated in front of you or all the
Right.
esteemed faculty, and they and everyone this time also, they were so proud of, I mean, I was so proud of our students, and how wonderful they did, so seamless surgeries, and it was the first time actually they were performing live surgery this time. So it was so nice to see, and it's so nice to see them bloom actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you even had them in like other roles for your conferences to make sure everything went on time. They had like leadership roles for a young person who's just, I mean, in the fellowship training to have that much responsibility was fantastic.
Absolutely, sir. Actually, that's one of the things which I learned when I was growing up, when I started the hospital, was initially, I mean, I love micromanaging. I mean, the smallest of the details. I have an OCD for
Sure.
even seeing the color, the stitch in the screen. I mean, the background on the screen,
Right.
everything. I'm so particular. But I realized initially I was doing everything myself. Then I just realized that others are not, they don't get that ownership when you start
Right.
doing everything yourself. So then I
Right.
realized that I give them the work, the responsibility. Then I tell them, look, I am very confident that you can do the job and you'll do it better than me, but if you're stuck anywhere, you can always come to me. I'm always there with you. And that's what I just tell them, and I let them, I give them the freedom. And and like you said, that makes them grow, gets that holistic growth, or they become a holistic doctor by the time they come out of the institute. Because a
Right.
lot of times, it's not just about surgical skills, how you talk to your patients, how you do a conference, how do you do your slides, how do you do your research, how do you write a paper, everything. It's a holistic approach for us to come out and start our practice. So that is what we try to teach our students. Yeah.
Well, I like that you give them responsibility and you tell them, I trust your judgment. I'm here if you need me, but I trust your judgment. That's fantastic.
Absolutely, sir.
And then you
Absolutely.
find out when you tell someone, just do whatever you think is best, I trust your judgment, they do a better job than if I did it myself.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Absolutely. That's so true, actually. I've seen that many times. Actually, in fact, when I started my practice, I didn't want to start in the main branch. So I started in a branch which we just was under construction. So I was involved in even the construction, the exterior, the interiors. Then I personally used to hire the staff, train them. I've trained the counselors. I looked into the small details. But um, then I realized that I was actually, at one point, I was doing everything. And I felt like, I didn't realize that, because I was growing at that point. I realized that I was either hurting the seniors, or they felt like they weren't doing their job. They were just sitting
Mm.
back and just enjoying the whole day. So then I realized that I need to overlook it, but not micromanage, because I need to give responsibility, let them flourish. Then the automatically everyone gets that ownership. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice way of doing it. Now, I'm sure after this podcast, many young ophthalmologists are going to contact me and say, how can I do this fellowship? So tell us, what's the process of applying and doing your fellowship? What's the criteria? How many people are applying? How many are you taking? Because you have a good number of fellows. I was surprised.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. So what we normally do is, there is an online form where you can, if you go to our website, we can apply for a full fellowship, or if you're planning for a short course, advanced phaco course for a month. We do a lot of courses on that, or cataract refractive, or. So once you apply, then we do an interview, online interview. then among the most important things is we see the personality or the character, because a lot of students are very arrogant, and that is 100% we don't take them because that is the number one criteria, because everyone can learn, but if a student feels already he's the top or he's learned everything, then there's nothing that which or he won't be a sponge. He just there's a bypass over his head. Anything.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. No, well, I think it's a fantastic fellowship. It's really quite an opportunity to learn there. Now, we talked a little bit about the meeting you had. I really enjoyed your meeting. Tell me about the meeting. It's called His Master's Voice.
Yes,
Tell me
sir.
more.
Yes, sir. So basically, this is a conference we started about 3 years back. I personally it's my conference, which I usually do it once a year. So it's been 3 years. This is the third conference which we're holding, and I have to be open that it wasn't all nice. Every year we have been trying to improve ourselves, make it better, make the program better, more engaging. So that is something a growing process, and we reached at this level at least after 3 years. And so we do a lot of hands-on, and we make sure that very unique machines which normally you don't get, like the latest of the latest machines, like your Silk Elita J&J machine. You can get hands-on training in the wet lab. You can do your whichever phaco machines you want. You can operate in your wet lab. And there's always a high-end surgeon who's actually helping you through the process. And over and above this, we have a lot of from your machines. How do we use our machines? And we discuss in a way that it's more case-based, so that it's much easier, because a lot of times in school also this happens, where we are taught maths, we are taught everything, but when we come out of the school, we don't know how to apply it. It's so important that we realize. So that's why we discuss all our diagnostic machines in such a way that it's a case-based discussion of its features, so that we realize that how do we use this particular feature of this machine in our clinic. So that's how we discuss our diagnostic machine. And obviously we have even live surgeries in our conferences, and we have stars like you and Dr. Ron and Dr. Rudy, and everyone was there. And so that way, not just we try to spread the experience and seniority on the national and international faculty have. It's something which normally you don't get anywhere. So it's a one place where you can imbibe knowledge and take back
For sure.
imbibe next day. Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I thought was unusual that I saw at your meeting, which was amazing, you had every different phaco machine from every manufacturer in a wet lab setup.
Right.
You had every femtosecond laser, excimer laser, every diagnostic device, everything. And
Absolutely.
all the young doctors can sign up for, like, okay, let me get on my schedule. I want to spend time with this machine, that machine. That was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen a meeting that allowed you, like, I could have done 6 different phaco machines in the same day.
Right, sir, absolutely. So and plus we made sure that the people who have registered for the wet lab, we made sure that they don't wait in the queue in the wet lab. We give them buzzers, and they go to the hall, and they keep continuing with their enjoying the conference. And whenever the buzzer rings, they can go back and go for the training in the wet lab. Yeah.
And I also loved that, very much like my style, the meeting was exactly on time. No session was even 1 minute late. It was exactly on time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's a fantastic. It's sometimes very difficult to do.
Absolutely, sir. I think especially if you have live surgeries, I think then it goes haywire, because we don't know how long each surgery takes, or if there's a complication, it might take longer. So that becomes a much of a challenge. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you had good didactic sessions of brief lectures. You had good discussion sections, audience interaction, plus a lost art, which we don't get in the US anymore. We used to. In fact, I used to do all these with live surgery events, which I think there's still a good learning from a live event.
Absolutely, sir. Because so what happens is in live events, see, now we surgeons, we show our best cases. Sometimes we do show our bad, But
Sure.
that's a little bit of struggles, and here and there, that is something that we don't showcase.
Right.
And live surgery is something that we can actually see the experts how they handle. If it goes a little wrong, how do we actually manage it? How do they hold the instruments? How do they manage? How do they manipulate? And that's something that always a live event is something which really attracts. I think that's something that happens in every conference, that a live event is something that everyone wants to watch and see. But like I always say, in a live surgery, you shouldn't be too interesting. Because if you're in your talks, you should be interesting. But if you're too interesting, that means you're doing something wrong. That means you're doing some complications and
Right.
other things. Yeah.
But even then, the life surgery were some tough cases too. They weren't all just simple cases.
Absolutely, sir. I think at this time also I was a little bit tense about my case, because it was an open PC posterior polar cataract, and I was crossing my fingers, my hands, everything, just hoping that everything went smoothly. Thank God everything.
Yeah, went beautifully. No, well, I think it's a fantastic meeting. Certainly, if you have an opportunity to attend every year, it's about the same time, October, probably every year.
We do, sir, October, but now and then we just change a bit depending on how the international and national conferences are. We change the schedule a little bit of a couple of months here and there. So, yeah.
I think I really I do a lot of meetings. Like this year,
Right.
I lecture in 21 countries. But that was really one of my favorite meetings. It was just so well done, so well organized. Everything was, and I felt like I learned a lot at the meeting.
Thank you so much. It means a lot coming from you, sir, because we really look up to you, and the work you do is simply amazing. And hearing those words coming from you, it's really made my day.
Although I got to admit, every year the young residents and fellows seem to look younger and younger. As I get older, I look at them like, wait a minute, how old are you? You're like as old as
I
my
think
kid.
that's what happens, sir. Actually, no matter what age we are, we always think that is young, because
Right.
when we are in 20s, we think 20 is young and 30 is too old. When we
Right.
become 30, we feel 30 is young. 40 is too old. I think it just keeps going on. Actually, every fellow who joins, I just feel that they're my colleagues every year.
Right. No, it's a neat setup there. Now, I also had a beautiful opportunity to come visit your center, but also your research lab. Tell me about the research lab. What's the name of it? What does that stand for? Tell me about
Right.
that.
So basically, sir, so we started our research lab in 2013, and it's called the Grow Lab. And what was interesting was
That's what's GROW, which stands for
GROW. And what was very interesting was, so it started with the first person who we actually employed was Dr. Arka. I think that's he had. I think you met him, and so he heads the research lab, and he has done his PhD on gene therapy. And what we do here is we made sure that we run very efficiently. Because in India, at least the time when we started research, that research, a lot of funds used to not come, and especially a private institute used to hardly do research. But our founding chairman, Dr. Shetty, so he really believed in it. He kept pushing, and till now we have not earned even 1 rupee from it. But it's really really showcased Narayana Nethralaya on an international platform, national platform. We made sure that we differentiate from the other hospitals having these cutting edge technology, because we didn't want to just do research. In the sense, we wanted to make transitional research where whatever we do in our lab, we make sure that something helps in our clinic. So what we did was, initially we made sure that we collected every sample which was being used. In our daily day-to-day surgeries, be it the tears, with the aqueous, even the PRK. A lot of times we scrape the epithelium and we just throw it away, or we do a lenticular extraction procedure and we just throw the lenticle away. At least my message to everyone who's hearing this is, please do not throw any tissue, because these are all gold mines. We need to store it. So we stored all these samples at -80. And what happened is, a lot of times, I'll give you an example of a PRK. A lot of times we have post PRK haze, and where you have done your surgical procedure perfect according to textbooks, just the right way, so that there's no haze and everything. but the next day you have these haze forming. So how did this happen? So what happened is, when these cases happen, we went retrospective to the samples of the epithelium which was collected before
Wow.
the
Oh,
surgery.
interesting.
And then we performed the test and saw what was so different in these eyes as compared to others, because all the scans looked perfect,
Sure.
and the ideal candidate for this, and the powers are not too high, very low power where we did the PRK. And then we realized certain biomarkers which were different in these eyes, and we even published this particular data. And this what happens is, the next time preoperatively from the tears, you can identify these biomarkers, and then look, these are the eyes which can develop post PRK haze, and then you pre-treat them, or you can completely avoid doing PRK procedures in these eyes. So that way you reduce the risk of chances of post PRK haze. So that way, there are so many small things where we do a lot of customization, prevention, so that your treatment, you're pushing your success rate to another level, because you need to do we do a lot of customized treatment, not just for the patient, for the eye itself.
Sure.
And over and above this, we even have started gene therapy lab. And so we are India's the first center to start even human trials in this. So we are able to produce in this particular lab clinical grade vector in the sense, it's basically a vehicle in which gene therapy is delivered into the eye or into the body. So that is something that we can actually do in our lab. And we are focusing on. We have already finished our animal trials. We have very successful animal trials for keratoconus, Stargardt's, AMD, and many
Wow.
more. Yeah.
That's really quite amazing. Yeah, I had never thought of that, but you're right. There's obviously the patients who did PRK and they got haze. Normally we just throw away the epithelium, scrape it off, and it's gone. But you saved it, so you can go back and look at all the haze ones, and okay, this is the biomarker. Now you also
Absolutely.
are developing a device to test the tears. Tell me about
Yes.
your device. It was amazing.
So we wanted to see, we did a lot of work on novel biomarkers for different conditions, for dry eyes, even for cataract. We have one of the studies which we keep publishing in every conference was this time also in ASCRS and other conferences, where we found certain biomarkers in cataract. Because we treat every type of cataract the same, we don't do anything different. But what we found very interesting was, there was higher level of inflammatory markers in patients with posterior subcapsular cataract with higher sclerosis. And
Wow.
that is something that we didn't realize, because when you have such a scenario and you have a mild gate of diabetic retinopathy, and then you simply go ahead with the surgery, then the mild grade progresses and the patient blames you. Look, doctor, you spoiled my eye. I was
Oh, right,
perfectly
right.
fine, and my retina condition worsened post surgery. So such conditions, we did find a lot of biomarkers in many fields, be it keratoconus, even in retinoblastomas, and so on and so forth. But then we realized, see, we can do these biomarkers, but we need such high-end machines which are very expensive and time-consuming to do all these testing. But we wanted to make sure that, how do we make this so simple, cost friendly, and any clinician, a solo practitioner, can have a device in their hospital and do it. And that's why we devised basically a diagnostic device called what's it called, BioPathfinder. And so this is a very unique device where you can, with the help of the Shermer strip, you can collect the tears from your patients. You yourself can do it, collect the tears, put it in this particular machine, which you can put it on your desktop or any table in your clinic. And within 90 minutes, you can have a set of biomarkers in your
That's
hands.
wild. That's wild.
And
Yeah.
and what is more unique about this is, you can customize, because there are different cartridges which you can use for this particular diagnostic device.
Okay.
So depending on your specialty or your interest, be it you might be a retina surgeon and you do a lot of injections, and we have identified certain biomarkers with which you can actually find out which patients respond to anti-VEGFs, which patients respond to your steroids, which is the right injection, because intravitreal injections has become really infamous. A
Right.
lot of patients keep complaining, look, the surgeon keeps injecting and nothing is happening, and so on and so forth. even with before your first injection. With this biopath finder, you can actually find out whether his eye will respond to this treatment or not, and then you can
Huh.
select which injection you want, and then you inject it. So that is the beauty about this particular diagnostic device, so that your relationship with your patients and your results post surgery or post injection is going to go to another level. So that is what we have brought forward.
Now, when can we expect even to have this machine come and commercialized? I'd love to
Yes.
have one in my clinic.
Absolutely, sir. So I think so. It's completely ready. It's just that we are waiting for our certain approvals, regulatory approvals. That's all. That I think is taking a little time because a lot of rules have changed in India recently. In fact, most of them, companies like J&J, Alcon, they're also struggling to get their devices into India lately because of the just change in the new rules. So I think probably in another 2 months or 3 months we should be up and running with our the certificates, and then I think we should be able to give it all over the world. Yeah.
Wow, that is fantastic. Yeah, I actually I looked up at the grow up GROW. G is genes, R is repair and
Yes.
regeneration,
Right,
and
sir.
then
Right.
OW is ophthalmic workstation.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
fantastic. Now, you also actually explained a lot. When I was in your laboratory, you have a tremendous number of these deep minus 80 degrees freezers. So you're
Right, sir.
saving all this tissue.
Absolutely, sir. So I think so. We keep thinking that okay, minus 80 maintaining the fridge is very expensive. It is, but believe me, these are all gold mines because
Right.
tomorrow, anything anybody wants to do any study, or I mean, be it in house or from abroad, we already have the samples with us. They can just say, okay, these are the set of patients we require. We already have Excels. We can just filter it, give you that set of patients, and then we can do the testing. So that is the beauty about it. And we are always want to collaborate with everyone because we are not we don't want to hog the limelight, because you cannot grow too much by doing that. We need to work together. That's when we hold hands, and that's when we can grow to another level. That's the whole
And,
philosophy
and
of
help
it.
more patients.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
You also had some gene therapy experiments. Tell me about those.
So the whole point is, so this was again, our founding father was very particular about making affordable care. And what as you know, the cheapest gene therapy injection out there right now is about 7 crore rupees, Indian rupees.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, even the richest can't afford it. It's extremely expensive. So our whole aim of our Dr. K. Bhujang Shetty with Dr. Arka taking the lead in the research lab, we started moving towards creating affordable gene therapy. That is our aim, to bring down the cost by 100 the time the cost. We
Wow.
want to make sure that every single person can afford this kind of a treatment. And so with that in mind, that's why we realized that we needed to do everything from scratch. So that's why we have our gene therapy lab also. We have patents on vectors, where we deliver the virus. And also what we have done is we are doing work not only in eye, in other conditions too, because a lot of times we get these patients like RP patients or age-related degeneration. A lot of patients, they come to us and we just say, I'm sorry, I mean, there's nothing there to do, but you need to just monitor and that's it.
Right.
But with this gene therapy, we are really actually giving hope to these patients who are lost hope. And by doing so, we have changed the mindset. So all the patients are so excited. We maintain a certain registry of all the patients who have these genetic disorders. And what we do is we do a lot of tests. So there are certain, even we have done work on certain skeletal-muscular disorders too, because a lot of parents, they see their child being born completely normal, but by about 2025, actually they lose their child. They'll see that, they know it, and they're going to see it, that they see the child dying in front of them. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really, I mean, such a sad plight. And that is one of the things we are also looking at. Yes.
Wow, so that's fantastic. You got the diagnostic research, the gene therapy research.
Right.
Are you doing any clinical research on surgical things or?
Absolutely, sir. So we have done a lot of research. I mean, we do in terms of, we do a lot of inventions in terms of techniques of surgery, or we do a lot of see, for instance, like cataract surgery itself. We do a lot of, we are doing a lot of research which we are also trying to I don't know if I can mention now. We're still in the process of patenting one particular
Yes, sir.
phaco tip. We feel that it's going to really revolutionize every phaco machine. Doesn't matter what phaco machine you have.
Wow.
Just by changing the tip design, you can actually improve the surge, how the machine behaves in terms of surge control, in terms of your fluidics, and also the followability. Just one simple, it's not too complicated. So this is in the works, and we should be we just collaborating with one of the companies, and we should be out hopefully in a year's time, by collaborating with this particular company, and that's very interesting. And also we do a lot of softwares too, a lot of AI work we
Oh,
do.
tell
uh,
them about the AI projects.
yes, sir. So one of the projects is uh, when we do refractive surgery, a lot of times we are very worried. See, most of the times we hit the target, everything goes smoothly, but there are some cases where you do the surgery and you have post refractive ectasia. And but when you go back, you look at the scans, everything looks perfect, right?
Right.
So what we did is we used AI to, we took the data of the pentacam data and the corvis, the biomechanic data, and put AI into it, and we devised a software called as AccuSim X. Basically, what this software does is, it takes your preoperative scan, and then it'll show how the cornea biomechanics will be post surgery, following PRK, following LASIK, following lenticular procedure. And it'll show you how different your biomechanics will be. And then you can choose which is the right procedure for that patient, so that you're not missing out something, because a lot of scans are these borderline, or sometimes even normal, and then you can miss out. But AI is something that can pick up some kind of a pattern which normal we humans cannot pick up, and then it shows you, okay, this is how it is, you need to be careful, you need to, okay, go for the surgery or don't go for the surgery, give you clear guidance on what to do with this. We have already tested, this is being tested worldwide, and in fact we have done almost about 6,000 eyes, 6 to 7,000 eyes already, and it's been extremely and touch wood, we have not had any case of ectasia post using this particular formula or software.
Yeah, because that's one of the things we're actually not good at, it is figuring out, well, how do I know what this patient's risk for future ectasia will be?
Yep,
And so a
absolutely.
lot of times now we look at the scans, we think, let me just be on the safe side. I'll just do PRK,
Yeah,
even though
yeah,
they may have a better outcome with a lenticule or with LASIK.
right.
But this is neat. You can kind of determine ahead of time what's the best procedure.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, because we need to make it much more easier for us, because a lot of times we have so many scans in front of us,
Right.
and these borderline cases, you keep thinking, okay, what do I do? Do I really need to go forward? Do I just not do anything, take the risk? Because a lot of times, there are females. I mean, whenever we do a refractive surgery in females, we need to be a little more careful, because these borderline cases, they, even if you don't do surgery, they tend to have issues when they go into pregnancy because of hormonal changes. So we need to be very careful, especially if it's a female, when you do refractive surgery and these kind of borderline cases, we need to be aware. And these are the softwares which really help you in your decision making, and make it much more safer.
Yeah, that'd be it. Wow, what a boon to have that. What a benefit to have that. That's very interesting. Yeah, I think that'll also help in the uptake of refractive surgery, because now you look for refractive surgery for young people. Just I'm surprised that it's such a small portion of the market.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, in fact, what I keep telling, I think companies also don't know the potential, especially the phakic IOLs is something that even the companies don't realize. They are just only trying to push the institutes and everything. Actually, it is the cheapest way you can start your refractive practice, because you
Right.
don't need anything. You don't need these expensive machines. Tomorrow, if you want to do a phakic IOL, you can start implanting, and the outcomes are simply amazing. You get 6 by 6 every time. Once you get your nomogram right, I think you're really good. And that is something that we need to really encourage every solo practitioner also, that you can start it. We need to give confidence to them, because the results are simply amazing, actually. Yeah.
Right. Instead of having to buy a femtosecond laser, an excimer laser, which are very, very expensive piece of technology,
Absolutely, sir.
you already
So
have a surgical microscope. You can start doing phakic IOLs tomorrow.
absolutely. No, without any investment, you can start your refractive. So because everyone thinks refractive, oh my God, I have to shell out a lot of money, and then it's a huge risk. Will I get my money back?
Right.
So you don't need to do that. So if you're a surgeon who's just starting your practice, obviously you need cataract because that is a bread and butter. But following that, you can do your refractive also by using your phakic lenses, so that you slowly start your footfall of refractive patients, so that by the time you're comfortable to buy the laser or excimer lasers or lenticular extraction machines, uh, then you already have patients who are already coming to you. So you're very confident, okay, this is the amount of patients I have per month. And then you start your laser procedure, so you can give your whole refractive all different kind of options to your patients, and then it's a win-win situation.
Well, I like your abundance mindset. So you will teach all the fellows here my secrets. You'll encourage the young ophthalmologists. No, set up your own private clinic. You can do it. You can start from scratch. Here's how to do it. You're telling all the secrets, because we only compete with ourselves.
Absolutely.
A good surgeon doesn't compete with any other surgeon. A good surgeon competes with him or herself.
Right. I think that's a very good point, sir, because I keep telling that to my fellows or trainees, look, you always teach everything you know to your colleagues and everyone, because if he's a good surgeon, you teach or don't teach, he will be good at the end of it. But
Right.
at least if you teach, you'll be his teacher.
Right.
So it's might as well spread your knowledge, share as much as you can, so that at the end of it, we need to be a good human being above all, and the
Sure.
best thing you get out of it is simply unlimited.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. Now, how do you balance? You have so many projects. You've got the Grow Lab with all the research in diagnostic, gene therapy. You have research in clinical things, surgical things. You obviously have you're doing 150 cataracts every week. You're working 6 days a week. You have a full clinic schedule also every day. You mentor your young doctors, your fellows and residents. Sometimes you don't see the sunlight. Sometimes you start the day before the sun comes up, and you finish the day, the sun's already gone. You don't even see the sun.
Absolutely, sir. I think you hit the nail on the dot. But I think that's one of the things which somehow I think maybe we are blessed, especially being in India or being in Bangalore also, that we are blessed with such numbers. And so because of that, we need to be very efficient. We make sure that we continuously keep monitoring the workflow of these patients from point A to point B, B to C, and we keep monitoring every day on where is the bottleneck, how we can improve it, because that is the most important in these high volume institutes. Because see, now for instance, I started usually by 6:50. By 9:30, I finished 25 cases. So that should be how smooth, our OT staff, because it's not a one man. Doesn't matter how fast the doctor is. If your team is not good, then you will be as slow as the team. So the floor nurse, the ward sisters, the ward staff, everyone works so well, and we are very blessed to have such beautiful people also who really treat our patients really well. And it works like a machine. It just comes and goes in. Patients just come, go, and what we also do is we keep trying to see how we can invest in even machines. See, now I'll give you a simple example now.
Sure.
See, a lot of times, be it let's say in the general OPD, a lot of times we see these patients, and then we need to dilate them to see the fundus, and then go to make sure that we have seen the whole eye, even the periphery and everything. So this was a pretty time-consuming process, because first when you go and see the patient, then you say, okay, everything's fine, we need to dilate you. Then the patient is made to dilate. Then it takes about 1 hour, 45 minutes. And then again, they get into the queue to get to see you, and then it's a long process. It's like the doctor's doing twice the job, seeing the same patient 2 times. So what we did is we invested in this particular machine, which can actually, you can image the periphery, even the most periphery, undilated.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so what we did is, so that way we really cut down the time. So we don't need every patient. We finish, we do the scan. The doctor is already is able to see all the slit lamp findings, including the fundus, the periphery, and this kind of an experience for the patient, that he does not need to being dilated. His waiting time is significantly reduced. His discomfort because of dilatation is not there, because for at least for 3 to 4 hours he's he's not able to do any kind of near work, and plus a lot of times, sometimes patients get allergy to these drops, so that also is not there. It's a win-win situation. And the patient goes so happy. Oh wow, my whole day I finished so quickly and I got out of the hospital. It's a really nice experience. So these kind of small adjustments we keep trying to do, so that we have a seamless process. So by doing this, what happens is, see, now I finish my OT by 9:30, 9:45. Then I come to OPD, and I see 40 patients. Now that 40 patients I finish in usually by about 1 hour, 1.5 hours. I use 2 rooms. So what I do is I keep running one room to other, so that by the time I finish one patient, the other patient is sitting and ready, and everything is ready, and then I go there and then I see. So that way, we can be really efficient. So by afternoon I'm done with my patients. Then I leave my afternoon onwards for research or management, so that that way it really keeps us on our toes. And then your team also, because it's busy, and they also don't feel it when actually that's something very funny actually. So in an institute where you have less patients, the doctors are more lazy and they don't want to see those, even that few patients. I don't know how that works.
Oh, of course. Then you're bored all day and the day takes forever. The hours drag by. But when you're busy, the day goes by like a snap.
Yes, yeah. And they don't mind seeing patients, actually. That's a weird concept. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but no, you great points there. It's all about the teamwork. So you're very efficient in the time that you do. So for some surgeons, maybe 25 cases, 25 cataracts may be a whole day, but for you, it's just a couple hours because you're efficient, because you have a great team.
Absolutely, the team is all that all makes the institute, makes a surgeon, makes us look good.
No, fantastic.
Take the credit.
For sure. So what's next on the horizon for you or for your institute?
So absolutely, sir. So what is very exciting is, one, gene therapy is something that we want to make sure it's available for everyone, and also our diagnostic device, which I was saying about, customized treatment, because a lot of customization we are able to do for our patients, and we want to make sure that every surgeon there can have it in their hands. And also we want to encourage more FDA trials. We have done about 2 FDA trials now in our institute. We were one of the, it was a multi-centric study, and our center was one. We want to encourage, we want to showcase that, even in India, in our institute too, that we are able to churn out good studies and good quality studies, because one of the things is we can churn out quicker because of the sheer numbers. We can finish the study also better, and we want to make sure that we maintain the quality also of the study being done. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, which gene therapies you do? We talked a little about like diseases like retinitis pigmentosa, but what are the other diseases you're targeting?
So we are looking at Stargardt's diseases. We're looking at keratoconus. We are looking at dry AMD. In fact, we have certain, more than the gene therapy, we have also found certain biomarkers in that. We are about to come with some kind of a therapeutic treatment for that, which will help the dry AMDs too. And also we are looking at RP, which you did mention, and many more, which in the pipeline. Some are in the others, which I have not mentioned, are still in animal trial. And then once that is done, we are going to move towards human trials too. Yeah.
No, that'd be fantastic. That'd be revolutionary. Certain diseases, Stargardt's or retinitis pigmentosa are relatively rare, but things like keratoconus, I see a keratoconic patient almost every week in my clinic.
Absolutely, sir. I think that's something that is very much needed, and in fact, we were one of the centers to show that it's more of an inflammatory disease, and that was something that people didn't look at that particular direction. And what was very interesting was we even showed that just with controlling the inflammation, we can actually slow down the progression of this particular disease. So that is, I mean, sometimes, with the help of, when you have a tie-up with a research institute, or when you do research simultaneously with your clinical work, you can really change how we actually look at certain diseases and treat them too, sir.
Yeah, wow, it's going to be a whole new world coming up. It's kind of exciting.
Right, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, well, Naren, I want to thank you for taking the time to chat with us. I learned so much. I certainly hope to visit again. You have an incredible institute there in Bangalore. For my American friends who may not know, this is a mega city. Bangalore is like the computer, IT, technology hub of India. And I think what the population must be 15 million, maybe more.
Yeah, absolutely. A small place, but it'll be the population of a country.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's huge. And it's grown so much over the last, maybe 10, 20 years. Amazing.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
But I hope to visit you again in the near future. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time. I'll put a link down below to your eye institute as well as your research activities.
Thank you so much, sir. It's really, and again, I want to mention that I'm really honored to be invited to your podcast, and I would like to again congratulate on your amazing work. I mean, it's doing such videos. One is you're sharing all your complications. It's
Right.
not easy, and also you share how to handle it without any filter to it, and
Right.
making it free. We need to remember that that's a huge thing. I mean, you can really make money out of this, but you have done it for free, and that's simply amazing. And hats off to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Great conversation. I want to remind our listeners and viewers, remember, I got a new podcast every single week. And of course, there's a new CataractCoach video every day. So until next time, I'll check you later.